For centuries, people have spoken of spirits, monsters, and restless souls that move unseen through the dark. Most are dismissed as folklore, yet every legend begins somewhere. These are the beings said to walk when night itself seems thinner. By the end of this video, you'll meet 7 creatures whose stories have endured for generations. The Wendigo, the spirit of famine, greed, and endless hunger. It comes from the frozen forests of the far north, where the trees whisper and the wind itself seems to mourn. Descriptions vary, but all agree on one thing: the Wendigo is never full. Its body is gaunt, its skin stretched tight over bones, its eyes sunken and burning with a starving light. It walks on 2 legs, sometimes towering over men, and when it moves, you hear the creak of ice breaking in the dark. The legend began among the Algonquian peoples of North America, where it served as both warning and curse. Those who turned to cannibalism in the depths of winter, driven by desperation or greed, were said to be claimed by a spirit of insatiable hunger. Once transformed, they would roam the woods forever, devouring all they found, yet growing thinner with every meal. The more they ate, the more hollow they became. Their voice, they say, is the sound of the wind, calling your name across the snow. For generations, hunters and travelers told of hearing footsteps in the stillness, of glimpsing antlers between the trees, or finding tracks that led nowhere. Some say the Wendigo is not a creature at all, but an idea, a darkness that lives inside those who take more than they need. Others believe it is real, bound to the coldest places on earth, waiting for hunger to open the door. So if you ever find yourself alone in the wilderness, the air silent, and your fire dying low, remember, hunger can call something older than man, and it always answers: the woman in white, a pale figure said to appear beside lonely roads and quiet lakes just before tragedy strikes. Dressed in a flowing gown that never seems to touch the ground, she drifts through the night air like mist, her face hidden behind her long, dark hair. Witnesses describe her as silent until the moment she speaks your name, and when she does, something terrible soon follows. Stories of the White Lady span nearly every culture on Earth. In the Philippines, she is called Caparosa, haunting rural highways where accidents occur again and again. In Ireland, she lingers near ancient bridges and castle ruins, where she mourns the ones she loved and lost. Across Europe, she appears in variations as the Weeping Bride, the Lady of the Lake, or the Ghost of the Crossroads, always tied to grief, betrayal, and untimely death. Her presence is not one of rage, but of sorrow too deep to fade. Locals in small towns still claim to see her on foggy nights, standing by a roadside shrine or beneath the light of a single street lamp. Some drivers say she vanishes the instant they look back in the mirror. Others tell of a woman who suddenly appears in the back seat, only to disappear before the crash that follows. Whether she is a lost soul warning the living or a restless force drawing them toward her fate, no one can say. If you find yourself driving alone through the mist and a pale figure appears by the road, whatever you do, don't stop. But not every haunting lingers outside. Some begin with a single reflection and the courage to whisper a forbidden name. The legend of Bloody Mary has been whispered at sleepovers, candlelit parties, and darkened bathrooms for generations. The ritual is simple: stand before a mirror, say her name 3 times, and wait. What happens next depends on who you ask. Some say she appears behind you, her face pale and eyes hollow. Others claim the glass runs red, as if bleeding from within, but all agree, once you call her, she never truly leaves. The earliest versions of this story date back centuries, tied to rituals of divination. In Victorian times, young women were said to gaze into mirrors by candlelight, hoping to glimpse their future husband, or, if they were destined for misfortune, a skull. Over time, the superstition twisted into something darker. Some linked her name to Queen Mary, Tudor of England, whose reign was marked by executions and fire. Others insist she is the restless spirit of a woman wronged, trapped between worlds and drawn to her reflection. Mirrors have long been seen as gateways, thin glass barriers separating our world from whatever lies beyond. On Halloween night, when folklore says the boundary between life and death is at its weakest, that barrier may blur. Countless people have tried the ritual as a dare, expecting only laughter, yet a few claim the reflection moved when they did not, or that the lights refused to turn back on. Whether curse, legend, or a warning about the things we invite when we call their names, the story of Bloody Mary endures. So, tonight, if curiosity tempts you to stand before the mirror, remember, some reflections are better left unseen. Have you ever tried saying her name in the dark? Tell us in the comments if you dare, because the next spirit doesn't wait to be called. called the night hag, the phantom who comes not from the woods or the water, but from the dark corners of your own room. She visits while you sleep, pressing down upon your chest until you cannot move, cannot breathe, cannot even scream. Those who've met her describe the same terror, the weight of an unseen figure sitting on them, the feeling of being fully awake yet trapped inside their own body. And in the corner of the room, just beyond the edge of vision, she waits, watching. Stories of the night hag go back centuries and cross nearly every culture. In Scandinavia, she is known as the Mara, a word that gave us nightmare. In Newfoundland, she's called the Old Hag. In Japan, the Kanashibari. And across the Caribbean islands, she's whispered about as a dark witch who rides her victims while they sleep. Though the names differ, the image remains the same. A shriveled woman with hollow eyes and tangled hair, her breath cold as the grave. Science calls it sleep paralysis, a trick of the body caught between dreaming and waking. But those who have felt her touch insist it's something far older, something aware. Many report seeing her face inches from their own, her grin stretching wider the more they struggle. Some wake with bruises they can't explain, others never wake at all. On Halloween night, when shadows stretch longer and sleep grows uneasy, people say she walks freely between dreams and waking rooms. So, if you wake to find your chest heavy and the air too still, don't open your eyes. She's already there. And if her silence in the dark doesn't chill you, wait until you hear the next one. Her scream can stop the heart. From the misty hills of Ireland comes a voice that no one wishes to hear, the banshee, the wailing herald of death. Her cry is said to pierce the night like shattered glass, a mournful lament that chills the soul of anyone who hears it. She is not a killer, but a messenger, her purpose bound to sorrow rather than malice. When her wail rises on the wind, it means that someone, somewhere, will soon draw their final breath. The earliest tales of the banshee date back to ancient Celtic traditions. Her name comes from the Irish bean Sida, meaning woman of the fairy mound. She was once believed to be a spirit tied to old noble families, appearing to foretell the death of their kin. Those who claimed to see her described a woman with long silver hair and pale weathered skin, her eyes red from endless weeping. She wore gray or white robes that fluttered like mist, and when she vanished, the air smelled faintly of earth after rain. Over the centuries, her legend spread across Ireland and into Scotland, taking new forms, but keeping the same dreadful warning. Some say she travels in groups, keening together like a chorus of mourning spirits. Others tell of her combing her hair by a dark stream, the sound of her sobs echoing through the valleys. To hear her is to know that death has already chosen its path. On Halloween, when the boundary between worlds grows thin, the banshee's cry is said to carry farther than ever. So, if you find yourself walking alone beneath a pale moon and the wind begins to wail, listen closely. It may not be the wind at all, but death's messenger isn't always bound to mourning. Sometimes it rides swift, headless, and relentless through the fog of Halloween night. Few legends capture the spirit of Halloween like that of the headless horseman, a faceless rider who emerges each year on All Hallows Eve, galloping through fog and moonlight in search of the head he lost long ago. Witnesses describe the pounding of hooves echoing through the night, the glint of a blade in one hand, and in the other, a jack-o'-lantern burning with eerie light. Wherever he rides, silence follows until the sound of a single, distant scream. The legend most famously comes from Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, set in the quiet valleys of early America. Yet the tale's roots run far deeper, tracing back to old European myths of headless riders who foretold death or carried the souls of the dead. In Ireland, he was called the Dullahan, a cursed fae whose black horse breathed fire and whose whip was made from human spine. When the Dullahan's gallop was heard, it meant someone nearby would die before dawn. Over time, the story crossed oceans and merged with colonial fears. Soldiers who lost their heads in battle, spirits trapped between revenge and rest. The American horseman became a revenant soldier, doomed to ride until he finds what was taken from him. Some claim he appears at midnight crossroads or near covered bridges, places where the dead can cross into the realm of the living. Others say his pumpkin head glows brighter the closer he comes to his next victim. Each Halloween, the legend returns, growing stronger with every retelling. So, if you hear hoofbeats behind you on a cold October night, don't look back. The headless horseman rides again, and he never stops until dawn. When the thunder of hooves fades, another sound rises in its place, a woman's cry carried on the river wind. The last tale comes from the heart of Latin America, where rivers run dark and the night carries a woman's cry, La Llorona, the weeping mother. Her name means the crying woman, and her voice is said to rise from riverbanks just before dawn, a sound so mournful it freezes the blood. Those who hear her say it begins as a whisper, then grows into a scream that echoes through valleys and towns alike. And if you see her, draped in white, her hair matted with water, it may already be too late. According to legend, La Llorona was once a beautiful woman who drowned her own children in a fit of grief or jealousy. The moment she realized what she had done, she threw herself into the same river, cursed to wander forever in search of the souls she lost. Her spirit now roams the waterways of Mexico, Central America, and the American Southwest. Her sobs carried on the wind. Ay, mis hijos! Oh, my children. Parents once told the story to warn children away from dangerous rivers, but over time, it became something more, a tale of guilt, punishment, and restless sorrow. Travelers have reported seeing her standing beside flooded roads or near bridges after midnight. Some say she appears as a shadow in the mist. Others claim she takes on the face of someone you love before revealing her hollow eyes. No matter the version, her weeping always comes before disappearance or death. On Halloween night, when water reflects the moon like a mirror to the spirit world, her lament is said to grow louder. So if you ever hear crying by a river when no one is near, don't call out, because if she answers, she's already found you. Watch our other episodes to uncover the creatures history tried to forget, and let us know in the comments which one haunted you most. If these stories sent a chill down your spine, stay with us. There are many more waiting in the dark. Subscribe so you never miss what waits in the next shadow. Until then, keep your lights low, your doors locked, and your curiosity alive.